Hello again, my awesome students. So ito na nga, last topic na tayo of lesson 6, which is about Japan, model for free developing world. Well, magtataka pa ba tayo bakit si Japan ang kasama dito? The Japanese standard of living now roughly approximates that of United States. No country in the world is better prepared to face the economic future than Japan. Japan, being the economic superpower in Asia, has attracted many admirers all over the world. In fact, in Asian regions, merong tinatawag na mga little Japans. So makikita yan sa South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. So yung economies nila is patterned after that of Japan. So let's see, bakit nga ba si Japan? First, Japan constitutes 4 main islands. That is Hokkaido, Honshu, Shikoku, and Kyushu, and thousands of smaller islands like Jeju Island. Let's go to Jeju Island. Its total land area is 377,708 square kilometers. Japan is smaller in area than California and 3.5 times bigger than Philippines. The largest island is Honshu, where the principal cities are located like Tokyo, Yokohama, Kyoto, and Osaka, Kobe. The islands of Japan are located in the temperate zone. The winter in Tokyo is mild, while summer is hot and humid. Japan is a mountainous country. The country has few natural resources. So alam na natin, the main problems of Japan is the climate and its natural resources. Anong ginawa kaya ni Japan to overcome those limitations? So let's take the short and brief history of Japan in their economic development. The origins of Japan were the Ainu tribe. They has a primitive form of a government. The early ancestors of Japanese people arrived in later years. They came from China, Manchuria, and Korea. In the middle of 1700s, Japan adopted a better method of production. Small farm units and labor-intensive technology were practiced. However, prior to the Meiji Restoration, Japan was still a backward country. So it was Emperor Meiji who started the modernization of Japan year 1868. The feudal fiefs were abolished, feudal barriers were removed. So nawala na yung mga feudal lords. That's why the land tax was improved. It became the principal source of revenue. Take note, ang principal source ng revenue on that year, 1868 or the year of Emperor Meiji, ay from land tax. In 1871 to 1873, a large-scale mission composed of top government officials undertook study tour in the United States and Western Europe. So I guess hindi problems ng Japan ang capitalization. That's why they can finance the study tour of its officials going to United States and Western Europe. Imagine, they study abroad to acquire the necessary knowledge and skills para sa country nila. While in 1946, the United States, through General Douglas MacArthur, introduced a radical land reform. Agricultural productivity increased and social position of the farmers was elevated. And in 1947, agricultural cooperatives were reorganized to complement the land reform programs. Dito na-introduce yung multipurpose cooperative. So, iba't iba ang services na binibigay ng cooperatives to its members. Yung anong similarities ng Japan sa Israel? They actually improve their cooperatives and organizations in the unit. So, hindi sila nagsistart ng malakihan agad. They started in a small unit of organization, which is the cooperative. The success of Japan in agricultural growth has been very impressive despite of its shortcomings such as limited land, infertile soil, and other natural disadvantages. Some of the factors contributed to the agricultural progress like infusion of government support, agricultural infrastructures, modern farming, appropriate village education. The most vital elements which have been responsible for the high level of agricultural productivity of Japan were land reform and cooperatives. Please take note of this. The most vital element para sa productivity or high level of productivity ng agriculture sa Japan ay dahil sa land reform and cooperatives. Farming is an important component of Japan's economy. Farmers cultivate every possible farm area. Diba? Isa sa problems nila is the land area. So, maliit yung cultivated land area sa Japan. But they make sure na lahat ng spaces na utilize nila. They even make terraces on the sides of the hills and mountains and even in the river banks, alongside river banks. They employ the most modern method of farm production, and as a result, farm productivity of Japan is very high. See? Kung electronics man nakikilala ngayon ng Japan, in earlier years ng Japan, pinalakas muna nila ang agricultural side nila. And maniniwala ba kayo rice is the main crop of Japan? Its most important fruits are mandarin oranges, apples, pears, and grapes. However, syempre hindi naman lahat kayang i-produce ng Japan. So, they actually import some of their commodities like meat, wheat, sugar, corn, and soybeans. In industrial development, industrialization of Japan started during the last decade of 1800s under the Meiji Restoration. The government did not borrow funds from the foreign powers. Imagine, hindi sila humiram ng funding from other countries nung sila ay mag-convert into industrialization. The farmers financed the industrialization of their own country. The land tax became the principal source of revenue. Another major government income came from the foreign exchange earnings from silk production were used in importing Western technology and machinery. Government played a very aggressive role in the industrialization of Japan. They even established technical schools and introduced the teaching of modern science. Japanese students were sent to US and Europe to acquire higher education and specialized trainings. The government started developing light industries like cotton spinning and weaving. It was only in 1890s that private industries began to emerge spontaneously. So the earlier 1890s, Japan is solely um, financing their own development. The industrialization of Japan created air and water pollution. This is common naman sa lahat ng nag-industrialize. However, si Japan, hindi niya hinayaan niyang air and water pollution. The industries have been able to reduce this to an acceptable level through anti-pollution technology and preventive measures. As a result, a remarkable progress has been achieved in cleaning up the environment. So si Japan lang ata ang gumawa ng paraan para mawala yung air pollution and water pollution. Si Philippines, problem pa rin niya yan. So today, Japan is an industrial nation with many large-size factories and plants. They produce a large variety of industrial goods. The automobile industry is one of the fastest growing industries in Japan, being number 1 in the world. Siyempre si Toyota yan. Japan has been the world's leading shipbuilding nation since 1959. Once upon a time, Japan copied Western technology. It acquired the bad reputation of a great imitator. Imagine niyo, meron palang ganong tatak si Japan noong unang panahon. Its industrial products were looked down in foreign markets, even by fellow Asians. At that time, United States ang nangunguna sa agricultural development in region. So the United States is also ahead in pure research and high technology applications, even for the defense and aerospace. So si America ang nangunguna on the earlier years. But now, Japan has virtually wiped out international competition in consumer electronics. Diba? Mas tinitingnan nga natin at hinahanap natin yung made in Japan ngayon, especially sa mga electronic gadgets. The country leads in automation, robotics, and even optical electronics. Japanese firms are now the undisputed makers of manufacturing technology. Japan is closing the gap with United States in computers, semiconductors, and genetic engineering. Today, the country is no longer an imitator. It is now an innovator. It is the Japanese who are now teaching the American manufacturers on production efficiency. Imagine, dati sila lang yung nag-aaral sa United States and the Western countries. Ngayon sila na yung nagtuturo. Japanese firms are now the undisputed makers of manufacturing technology. Paano ginawa yan ng Japan? As you can see in this diagram, this is the Japanese management style. So, Japanese management is employee-oriented. Yung style ng government niya is employee-oriented. Japanese firms develop their employees and take good care of them, including their families. Take note again, they're taking care of their employees and the families, including the families. For this reason, employees work for a lifetime employment. They stay in their jobs until retirement or death. There are actually two types or two aspects of the Japanese style of management. First is the lifetime employment system, which includes implanting a sense of corporate loyalty in employees, promotion and salary increase, and employees are rotated among various posts for to provide them wide exposure and broad vision. The other aspect is the company-based union. So this helps in creating a feeling of oneness between management and labor. And decisions start from the workers or employees and move upward. Yeah. Nafe-feel ni employee na belong siya in an organization. Therefore, it will create loyalty. Diba? And also, kailangan natin ng increase in the salary, the promotion. And not only about the money, but also yung skills natin, dapat nag-i-improve din siya. So, that's why kailangan siyang i-rotate in other different areas para alam mo kung anong nangyayari sa kabuuan ng organization. That's why maraming or karamihan sa mga empleyado ng Japanese were happy and contented. These are the key to Japan's success. A country becomes successful in economic development not because of its factories, modern buildings, or high GNP. It is the quality of its people, the attitudes and values, which really determines the success or failure of an economy. The principal key to Japan's success is not adaptation. The real key to its success is cooperation through teamwork. Japanese work together and they enjoy their work. A work has a strong commitment to their job. The worker, actually, meron siyang strong commitment. They get to work on time. I think I see article that 3 a.m. ganun kaaga, pumapasok na yung mga workers. And they work carefully and hard while they are on their job. They believe in an honest day's work for a fair day's wage. They have a great sense of pride in what they do and their countries produce. And that is the key to Japan's success. Japan is now a highly developed country. Its people enjoy a highly standard of living. Several factors contributed to its rapid economic growth. Of course, the principal key factor is the quality of its people. Aside from the farmers of Japan who had helped and the early industrialization of their country, family business or family business house called Saibatsu played a vital role in economic development of the country. The growth of Saibatsu was the product of the government's policy of encouraging free enterprise. Japan, being a rich country, has a responsibility to the less developed countries, especially in the Asian region. Japan as being an industrial country in Asia, has the major responsibility to work for the stability and prosperity. We have the three areas where Japan's effort could be utilized. First is Japan is limited to peaceful means. It cannot cooperate militarily with other countries. Such policy is in the line with the unfortunate events in the past. the greatest contribution that Japan could make in towards Asian countries nation building, which is linked to economic and social development. And lastly, Japan is now called to play a political role in the peace and stability of the region. Di ba tayo nga si Japan din ang kaalyado natin? Japan and Chinese in Duterte administration. And that concludes bill topic 3. Again, if you have any questions, you may send it through my email or messenger. Okay, please prepare for the short quiz on our next meeting. Bye everyone and stay safe.